Alrighty then, it's time for a Nocturne ranked game. Hooray! Let's get this show on the road. Which one? This game was also a streamed game, and yes, I'm streaming again. Hooray! Unfortunately, for those who watched the stream yesterday, it was absolutely terrible. We had one feeder who intentionally fed, we had support Shaco, we had a support Fizz, and just generally super unpleasant. This was the only game that did not have that kind of shit. At first, when the Veigar was DC'd, I was like, oh my god, are we going to have another one of these games? No, thankfully, no. So yeah, a lot of the losses in the game were just because we had one or two players who were just insufferable. But hey, that's ranked, right? Yeah. Anyway, same runes and masteries as always on Nocturne. Attack damage red, attack speed quins, armor yellow, magic resistance blues, 12, 18, 0 masteries. Yay, Thunderlords. Mostly I'm going stabby form in this game. Right now, the early game, as you can see, is going really bad, and technically here I fuck up because I could have just, flashed a lot earlier before I got EQ'd and taken less damage, but whatever, right? If we're gonna fail, let's fail really hard. So far, before 5 minutes, it's already 3-0, well, it's 4-0 now, and then Jarvan dies, so it's 4-1. So, yeah, I bet it's off to a really shitty start. Anyways, like I said, I'm going to stabby build. My team doesn't really have a pure tank. I mean, Leona technically counts as one, but so as support, she's not going to get as big and powerful as most tanks normally would from like the jungle or top lane. So I'm going to try to, I don't know, murder somebody like Jinx or Ziggs and hope for the very, very best that Veigar can annihilate the enemy team. He is going to be my anchor this game. I'm going to pick someone off and hopefully Veigar can annihilate the rest of them. Because Veigar technically can control everyone on the enemy team except probably the Jarvan. So again, here's hoping for the best. Plus, to be perfectly fair, despite the fact that we have someone like Yorick on our team, my team comp is pretty damn solid. Like it's not the most optimal of choices for those roles, but we have kind of a lot of bases covered, right? It's like we're not the A students, we're the B students and some C students, but we're all good at what we're doing. Kind of like that, right? Anyways, I'm off to a pretty slow start. No real ganks except this one right here, and even then, this one doesn't go that well. I jumped on the Jinx because I thought Draven might have been in position for us to kill her, and I thought her flash was down, but it wasn't, so I turned my attention to the Shaco. Then Jarvan comes in, and they focus on the Leona a little too much. Jarvan EQs way too ahead. Sure, he had his ultimate, but this is a little too greedy. He ends up getting pretty much killed. Leona scampers off. I use my shield to block the rocket from the Jinx. The fight's still not technically over because I get a little bit greedy, and then Ziggs is gonna blow me the fuck up. Like I didn't even think he was coming. And then the enemy team gives chase to the Leona, gets trapped by the Veigar, so Jinx gets killed, and then the Ziggs gets way too greedy. He basically face checks this bush. I don't know why he thought this would have been a good idea. Like, he ignored the fact that Leona was literally right next to him and was going to gear up to stun him. So he just basically gave it a free kill. And I think a buff as well. So that whole trade-off right there was absolutely stupid. Jarvan also, I have to say, as a criticism to Jarvan, this is one of the things that I really don't like about in lower divisions, what some junglers do. Technically, he had a lot of success in the early game, right? And even here, he gets to punish alongside the Darius, the Veigar, who kind of got a little too cocky. But one thing I dislike about a lot of lower division junglers is that they do things they think they're supposed to do because they've seen other people do, but they don't understand the reasoning why they're being done. And to make more sense of that, it's sort of like they're performing invasions or very early ganks because that shit's cool. But they don't understand that by doing so, they're making the bad trades, like the wrong call at the wrong time, so to speak. But still, though, it's working now because my teammates are allowing themselves to get punished. I'll give you this example. I've had games as Trundle, right? Fucking Trundle, where I get invaded by people. I'm like, yeah, I know it's super cool for like a Master Yi to do all these cool stealings and shit, but Trundle's gonna fuck you up if you try that against it, right? Stuff like that, right? Just there's people who, I don't know, or especially Lee Sins. Like in another video that I might upload when I'm a support Scion, there's a Lee Sin who gets a little too cocky trying to do all these cool tricks and shit. And none of them work out because he's not doing them at the wrong time. He's doing them technically well, just not at the right time, and it gets punished for them. Anyways, back to the game. A lot really didn't happen with me, most just around me. And here I just sort of get to counter against the Darius who overcommits against the Yorick. Thankfully, the Yorick is a little bit tankier and doesn't get immediately annihilated by him. We make a push, but then Ziggs teleports in, so I back off. And throughout this whole thing, I don't even look at it. Ziggs manages to kill Yorick. I don't even know what the fuck happens, but that's just really bad. The Yorick is on a feeding spree. But thankfully, the Yorick actually understands what he might as well do at this point. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to get any more kills. I'm just going to push recklessly and just forsake my life. And in a way, that's kind of something that can be done too. If you're not doing so well early on, just kind of, I don't know, trade your life. You're not really worth much anymore. Anyways, Darius gets caught going down bottom lane, and I believe Jarvan shows up too. I believe they also do overcommit. I focus on the Jarvan mostly because he'd be the easiest one to kill. And then here's kind of a mistake that Leona does. She chases after him instead of turning around and protecting the Draven. I do my very, very best to help him kill Darius before he gets annihilated, but unfortunately I just didn't have the damage. So if Leona had turned around, we might have been able to kill him, and then the Draven would have been able to push alongside us, and this wouldn't have turned out as bad as, well, it turns out right now. The Leona gets basically caught and absolutely murdered by 4 people. Well, no, 3 people, and the Shaco just counts as a second person when he uses his ultimate. So, yeah, and as a result of that too, they also get Dragon. By the way, this game is pretty tense and close right now. The gold isn't really spread out properly on the enemy team though. Darius has a lot of it, they're not really farming all that well. Their Jarvan is pretty damn starved for gold, for all things considered. I'm getting farmed up, and of course I did steal a lot of lane farm, but whatever. My AD carry is also tremendously more powerful than theirs. So all of these signs just sort of tell you it's only a matter of time before my team begins to just absolutely ham blast the enemy team. Like, yeah, again, it's sort of going into what I was saying about the Jarvan. It's like, it's cool to get the kills, it's cool to make these aggressive plays and, you know, multi-gank something, you know, put a lot of pressure in your lane. But if you're not doing it at the right time or doing it absolutely properly, you're just mostly wasting time getting behind. Like, yeah, even if you get like 5 kills or something, if your farm sucks, it doesn't mean shit. I mean, if your kills don't equate to how much gold you gave up that you could have just farmed, right? Better to say it that way. So, the enemy team, all things considered, are pretty damn behind. And through the replay, you can actually see the goal difference, despite it only being 3 kills apart, is pretty considerable for this early into the game. And now, at this point, my team, or mostly the Draven, is pretty goddamn huge. And if he can stay alive, he can pretty much annihilate the enemy team. So that's kind of my goal. At this point, it's just feed my Veigar and the Draven more kills, and hopefully, you know, we destroy the team in every single instance. Here, I just dash in for the, to the Jinx. I take a lot of turret damage, but thankfully, I'm not gonna get punished by the Darius. Like, look at me, I'm big too, or at least quasi-big for all things considered of how badly the early game was. I could possibly trade myself for one of theirs. If I catch the Jinx, she's gonna die. I could kill the Ziggs 1v1 too, probably, if I get the jump on him, right? So at this point, the enemy team, what's called equivalency, they can't 1-for-1 us anymore. They're like, their value is way less than ours. And of course, like I said, the Yorick is providing a very, very ample distraction for the enemy team. Like, at this point, like he said, he's not going to get any kills. He doesn't give a shit anymore. He's going to make himself as worthless as possible, while my team focuses on killing any stragglers, like killing the Ziggs here, which was, by the way, a pretty cool play there. I got to say so by myself. I'm going to jerk myself out right there. And of course, pushing down bottom lane, just generally being a menace. We basically gained full-on control of the game right now, of the map too. The enemy team isn't that focused. They're not strong, and it's not because they weren't playing, you know, they're not competent players. They made just a lot of terrible decisions, and their gold spread is just absolutely terrible. So, like, again, just look at the gold difference between the counterparts of each side, ignoring top lane because that just kind of was their own thing. I have twice as much gold as Jarvan. My Veigar has 40 more gold than the Ziggs, also better kill spread. Draven just absolutely swimming in the money in comparison to the Jinx, plus has way more gold. That's just like a deadly combination right there. And just by the sheer fact of using our vast amount of gold, we're gonna crush them. Think of it this way. It's like if you were having a pillow fight with pillows filled with money, eventually the one with more money is gonna break the other guy's neck, right? And this is kind of how it's going. They can't really do anything anymore unless we fuck up, like here's Veigar getting a little too cocky. But right now, the Veigar is at the point where you can one-shot with, like, well, one combo shot anyone on the enemy team, including the Darius. I can kill any one of their squishies by myself. Draven can annihilate their team. kind of a done deal. It's just sort of waiting for the right moment or for when the right buffs are up, and then we'll go in for a fight. Or for our cooldowns. So, yeah, the enemy team probably sees that it's kind of a done deal. They're starting to rage into all chat already. You know, oh, fuck this AD carry, or fuck this Shaco. And yeah, this is the second support Shaco I've had this day, but thankfully it wasn't the enemy team. But here's what I mean. There's a sort of full-on fight here. They don't have the damage, they don't have the capacity to actually kill anyone in a timely manner, or the focus for that either. Like, hell, look, the Draven, even with all that shit on him, didn't die immediately, so, yeah. It was just a matter of time for them to lose. So, I don't know, use this video as a sort of example. Just because it's cool to do certain shit doesn't necessarily mean it's better than doing the boring shit. Sometimes playing super vanilla tends to be the better choice. Hell, that's why sometimes in some games you don't see me invade at all, because I know it's not the right time, even though it would be badass. And with that, the enemy team surrenders, and we win. Hooray for the only good game on yesterday's stream.